Christmas, the second most wonderful time of the year, after Halloween, of course. But just because Halloween has come and gone doesn't mean we all can't experience a little horror with our holiday joy. Therefore, I have compiled a list of horror movies that also bring the holiday cheer, and I have checked it twice. So join us now as we list 13 horror movies to watch for Christmas. But before we begin, be sure to slash that like button and make sure you're subscribed, as we're always posting horror-related content and we'll definitely be posting more lists just like this one. So light up your tree, grab some milk and cookies, and enjoy. Black Christmas from 1974. Widely considered to be one of the first slasher films, or at least one of the first films that directly inspired the creation of the slasher subgenre of horror, Black Christmas follows a group of sorority sisters being stalked by a stranger during Christmas break. The film stars Olivia Hussey, who you might remember in the 1990 It miniseries, and Psycho 4: The Beginning, also from 1990. Margot Kidder, who was part of the Lutz family in the original 1979 The Amityville Horror, and played Lois Lane in the Christopher Reeve Superman films. Last, but definitely not least, the legendary John Saxon, who is most known for 1984's A Nightmare on Elm Street and some of its sequels, Dario Argento's Tenebrae from 1982, and many more great horror films. Black Christmas is not only a great Christmas film, but a great horror film in general. The phone calls from Billy to the sorority house are creepy and shocking, to say the least. The filmmakers took a subtle approach to the kills, opting to not have a ton of gore effects. But even though some would say it lacks in the blood department, you have to admit that it makes up for it with a suspenseful story full of tension and disturbing imagery. Director Bob Clark brought us the two best Christmas movies in film history. The horror classic that is Black Christmas, of course, and 1983's A Christmas Story. If there is one movie on this list that should be required viewing each holiday season, it's the original Black Christmas. If you ask me, they should really play 24 hours of Black Christmas every year. Christmas Evil from 1980. Also known as You Better Watch Out, Christmas Evil tells the tragic story of a man named Harry, who has never been the same since discovering that Santa wasn't real as a young boy. After being belittled and lied to by his co-workers, he decides to dress up as Santa and take it upon himself to deliver Christmas cheer to the children in town. Christmas Evil is not the typical Christmas slasher movie with a guy dressed as Santa. The film doesn't feature a huge body count because it's not that type of movie. It's a rather depressing character study about a man that just wants to do right for the children and punish those who have been naughty. Christmas Evil has plenty of Christmas imagery to go around, and the movie gives off a cold winter vibe as the town is covered in a dusting of snow. If you're looking for a horror movie with a little more substance than just mindless killing, then this one is for you. Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. Silent Night, Deadly Night features one of the most messed up openings on this list, and it's all witnessed by a young kid named Billy. Traumatized by the image of Santa Claus, a now 18-year-old Billy is trying to move on with his life until the manager at the toy store he works for asks him to dress up as Santa. Robert Brian Wilson does a great job as the disturbed grown-up Billy. Linnea Quigley makes a brief appearance, who would go on to star in the awesome films Return of the Living Dead from 1985 and Night of the Demons from 1988. Silent Night, Deadly Night is definitely one of the better Santa killer films. If you can check out the 85-minute version that has all the deleted gore shots, I highly recommend it. You can tell which shots are the deleted ones as the footage dips in quality, but it really doesn't take away from the viewing experience. Silent Night, Deadly Night is a cult classic filled with controversy, but its dark and mean-spirited approach to the holiday season makes it a great addition to this list. Gremlins from 1984. After Billy receives a new pet named Gizmo, he carelessly breaks 3 crucial rules in caring for it. and accidentally releases a gang of monsters on a small town. Produced by Steven Spielberg and directed by Joe Dante, the director behind 1978's Piranha, 1981's The Howling, and 1989's The Burbs, Gremlins is by far the most wholesome movie on this list and is something you could watch with your children. The gremlin monsters are goofy. They all wear random outfits and do slapstick type humor like punching each other or swinging from a light and falling to the floor. There is a full scene of gremlin hijinks featuring a lot of comedic parts where the gremlins are hanging out in a bar. Gizmo is adorable, of course. His facial expressions and the little sounds that he makes are precious. Billy, played by Zach Galligan, who you might know from Waxwork, Hatchet 3, and Bad Candy, also has a pet dog that goes by the name of Barney. His love interest is played by Phoebe Cates, who you might remember from Fast Times at Ridgemount High and Drop Dead Fred. And let me not forget the appearance by a young Tommy Jarvis himself, Corey Feldman. The wholesomeness of this film and the light horror comedy approach, mixed with a snow-covered town dressed in Christmas decorations, makes Gremlins a great horror movie to watch with the whole family for the holidays. Terrifier 3 from 2024. Looking for something that is the exact opposite of Gremlins? Something on the extreme side? Then Terrifier 3 has you covered. Terrifier 3 takes place a few years after the events of Terrifier 2. However, as the first two Terrifier films took place around Halloween, Terrifier 3 is set around Christmas. Actress Lauren Lavera reprises her role as Sienna, trying to cope and move on from what happened to her in Terrifier 2. David Howard Thornton, who has played Art the Clown in every Terrifier film, is once again outstanding as Art. The humor and horror he brings to the character without speaking one line of dialogue is amazing. Writer and director Damien Leone dared to take his ever-growing popular franchise and set it during the holiday season. Terrifier 3 brings all the blood and gore you would expect from the franchise, but with the added bonus of Christmas cheer. There's even a Terrifier Christmas song featured in the film. Some might say that Terrifier 3 goes a bit too far, so consider this your warning. But in my opinion, it's great Christmas horror fun. Krampus from 2015. Michael Dougherty, the director that brought us the fantastic Halloween horror Trick or Treat from 2007, also delivered us this gem of a Christmas movie. A young boy having an awful Christmas accidentally summons the festive demon Krampus to his family's home. Adam Scott, who you might remember from Parks and Recreation and 2010's Piranha 3D, stars along with Toni Collette, who you might know from 2019's Knives Out and 2018's Hereditary. The movie features some comedy, be it dark, like the opening credits showing shoppers fighting each other at a store opening. There are also fantasy elements that might deter some, but overall there is a real dark horror connecting it all together. The gingerbread men are my favorite. They're cute and adorable, but crazy with their relentless, murderous intent. Krampus brings the Christmas vibes for sure, but also makes you feel that winter cold, more so than other Christmas horror movies. The cold plays a role in the film, so much so that the opening Universal and Legendary logos are even frozen over. Like Trick or Treat, there is so much that could be said about Krampus. It's another great Christmas horror movie to enjoy for the holiday season. Oh, and Krampus himself looks awesome. Jack Frost from 1997. After a truck containing experimental genetic liquid collides with a prisoner transport vehicle during a snowstorm, serial killer Jack Frost is accidentally exposed to the liquid. The liquid mixes with his body and the surrounding snow, turning the vengeful killer into a murderous snowman. No, we are not talking about the 1998 film of the same name starring Michael Keaton. This movie is better than that. Jack Frost is a horror comedy that has fun with his subject matter. The characters are all played seriously, but overall, The movie is filled with campy humor. Jack Frost is always delivering one-liners, most of which are puns. It's so silly, but it makes it fun. Actress Shannon Elizabeth makes her film debut in Jack Frost before going on to star in 1999's American Pie and 2001's 13 Ghosts. Jack Frost has plenty of snow, of course, holiday decorations, a bloody Christmas tree, and even some Christmas songs throughout the film. This list doesn't feature very many comedic horror films, so if you're looking for something absurdly fun with your holiday horror viewing, then Jack has your back. Santa's Sleigh from 2005. Okay, I know this is another Santa killer movie, but this one is a dark comedy that has Bill Goldberg as the Santa killer. Yes, that Bill Goldberg. For those not in the know, Bill Goldberg was a professional wrestler back in the day, and I must say, it really looks like he had fun in the role. He owns the role of an evil Santa, and it's fun to see Goldberg ravage the people of Hell Township. He even performs a spear through a glass deli counter into the worker standing behind it. I kind of wish he did more wrestling moves in the film, but as long as there is one, I'll take it. Santa's Sleigh also stars Douglas Smith, who you might remember from 2017's The Bye-Bye Man, which is a so bad it's good kind of movie, and Emily DeRaven, who you might know from the awesome 2006 remake of The Hills Have Eyes. Santa's Sleigh isn't a huge gore fest and at times feels like a made-for-TV film, but don't let that deter you. Overall, the movie is a blast and a great comedy-filled horror movie to watch for the holidays. And if you're a wrestling fan like me, stay tuned after the credits for something fun. P2 from 2007. P2 is set on Christmas Eve and follows a woman fighting to survive the night after she's locked in a parking garage by a deranged security guard. There isn't much of a body count in P2, but frankly, it isn't that type of movie. However, the little gore that is displayed is top-notch and shocking. Rachel Nichols, who does great in the role of Angela, you might remember as the babysitter from the 2005 remake of the Amityville Horror. Wes Bentley, who you may know from 1999's American Beauty and 2001's Soul Survivor, plays the psychopath security guard very well. The way he flips back and forth between nice guy and evil is terrifying. Also, the scene where he dances and lip syncs to Blue Christmas by Elvis is perfect for the character. Although the film takes place in a parking garage, there are plenty of Christmas feels to go around. The opening credits start with the classic Santa Baby by Eartha Kitt. Then there is the security office, which has been decked out in lights and garland. Wes Bentley even dresses in a Santa suit for a brief moment. Because of this, P2 is a great cat and mouse horror thriller to rein in the Christmas holiday. Silent Night from 2012. Silent Night is a quasi-remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. I say quasi-remake because it is much different than the original. However, it does pay homage to some scenes from the 1984 film. Silent Night stars Malcolm McDowell, who you'll know from 1971's A Clockwork Orange, and Rob Zombie's Halloween from 2007. Jamie King, who starred in the 2009 My Bloody Valentine remake and the 2010 Mother's Day remake, and was a judge on the Scream Queens reality show. If you remember that show, you're cool. Anyway, Silent Night follows McDowell and King as police officers, trying to hunt down a killer Santa Claus who's picking off people on Christmas Eve. With a town full of Santa Clauses, the two have a hard time trying to pinpoint who the killer is. The movie features more kills than the 1984 original, and the killer Santa wears a crude plastic mask over the upper portion of his face, which gives him more of that slasher feel. The film is full of Christmas vibes to get you in the spirit for the holiday season. Oh, and there's a flamethrower. Better Watch Out from 2016. I don't want to say too much about Better Watch Out to not spoil a certain plot point that would be best to not know going into it. What I will say is this: go into the movie blind. Don't watch any trailers or look anything up. Treat yourself to the best possible viewing experience. Then come back and let me know what you think. The main boy in the film, played by Levi Miller, does a great job in his role. Olivia DeJohn, who you might know from 2015's The Visit, is also notable. Fans of Stranger Things will notice a small appearance by Billy actor Dacre Montgomery, who delivers some comedical lines. Better Watch Out is a great holiday horror film. It really ends up subverting your expectations of what you think will happen. For those who have seen the movie, wasn't the Home Alone scene just fantastic? For those who haven't, just wait, you'll see what I'm talking about. A Christmas Horror Story from 2015. A Christmas Horror Story is an anthology film with woven stories that all take place on Christmas Eve. The film stars William Shatner as the festive radio host Dangerous Dan. William Shatner, who you might remember from, well, it's William Shatner. If you don't know who that is, then I don't know what to tell you. The way A Christmas Horror Story jumps around to each story keeps the pace of the film moving along nicely and never slows down. Some of the movie even takes place in the fictional town of Bailey Downs, which is the same town from the film Ginger Snaps from the year 2000. For the movie's budget definitely being on the lower side, the special effects are fantastic. I absolutely love how Krampus appears in this movie. The 6'6" Rob Archer looks awesome in the role. Also, as you could tell from the poster, Santa fights Krampus. What more could you ask for? The film ends with a twist, and although interesting and possibly a little divisive, it's quite tragic. A Christmas Horror Story is a great little horror Christmas movie that really holds up and might even make it to your holiday must-watch list if it isn't already. Black Christmas from 2006. Released on Christmas Day in 2006, the remake of Black Christmas takes place on Christmas Eve and follows an escaped maniac that returns to his childhood home, although now it's being used as a sorority house. I'm sure you can guess what happens next. Directed by Glenn Morgan, who also directed the 2003 remake of Willard, Black Christmas stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who you might know from Final Destination 3 from 2006 and 10 Cloverfield Lane from 2016. Michelle Trachtenberg, who you might remember from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer television show, and Lacey Chabert, who you might know from 2004's Mean Girls, also star. Andrea Martin, who played Phyllis in the original 1974 film, appears as the house mother. The 2006 remake of Black Christmas uses key elements of the 1974 classic story, but adds a good amount of new ideas to set it apart from the original, some of which are truly messed up. As a tribute to the original director Bob Clark, the famous major award leg lamp from A Christmas Story can be seen in the sorority house. Obviously, this remake doesn't hold a candle to the original, but it's still a fun watch and is loaded with tons of Christmas imagery to fulfill your holiday horror viewing experience. Well, that's our list. If you have any Christmas-related horror movie recommendations, let us know in the comments. Perhaps it will end up on the next list. Once again, don't forget to subscribe for more horror-related content like this one. And also, I just want to apologize for my voice sounding the way it is. I'm trying to get over a cold, so my apologies. Until next time.